Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Naked on Europa. Or Mars. Gonna have to get used to saying that. So, I've been a little bit busy, as you can see. I'm stood on a very, very wobbly crane. I don't know why it's jittering around quite so much, because, well, I've got shear inertial tensor on various stuffs, and it appears I'm being shaken off the thing, as you can see. Right, before I fall off this, let me just get back into character. There we go. And as you can see, it's wobbling about all over the shop. So let's just come back here. I can control it like such. And yeah, not ideal, I have to admit. But let's come out of that. And I think it's 9. That should stow us. And then we'll get on with it. Clunk. Okay, we'll come back to that. That was kind of a little experiment that I did to build a welder crane that would allow me to build a second ship. So as you can see, we now have another R.A.T. But before I get into that, I just want to go onto a technical issue. You can see down there the shadows on the sides of the hills, and shadows over there. I can't get rid of them. Initially, I tried messing around in the last few videos with the graphics settings, and I found that switching some of these textures, the voxel and the texture qualities, to low would resolve the issue. Let's come back out of that. But as you can see, it's not making any difference at all. I've verified my game files, I've checked everything, everything appears to be normal. Go on to, I won't do extremely high, but do one at a time. To come out of the menu, I think, for it to have any effect. And the other one, texture quality, high. And you'd say, well, it's not textures, it's shadows. But nothing I do with the shadows makes any difference, and never has made any difference. So shadow quality, for instance, I can disable it. Come back out of the menu. No difference whatsoever. So I don't know what's going on with that. If any of you know what the problem is and how to fix it, I would really appreciate you writing it down in the comments for me, because that to me is immersion breaking. That's not how shadows work. I'm using an AMD RX 6950 graphics card, which is easily able to cope with all of this. So I don't know. I'm a little bit lost on that, and yeah, very annoying. Anywho, not going to harp on about it. We'll just have to put up with it. It is what it is. Right. The other thing I thought of was I've put a sensor on the bottom of this so that it cannot dock here if there's already a ship here. And I did test it between episodes just to confirm that that does work, and it does work. But it occurs to me that let's get some height, an omission that I have made. Get under here. We don't have a sensor for when we're at the mine. So if there's a ship already parked on the waiting, and I haven't got round to moving it yet, then the second ship is going to land on the first one, which is not a problem if we only have 2. But if I decided to have a third one, that might become an issue. So I think my plan long term is to put another sensor, maybe there, and use that to stop it from doing its drop from the sky thing. Yeah, so we'll see. Anyhow, in the last episode we saw how this was perfectly able to go over to the mine, drop itself down and park waiting for me to take it over. That back there for a second. But that's only one mine. That's only the iron mine over there. And I've called it Drone Mine Position 1, Drone Mine Position 2, but I should have actually called it Drone Iron or something, because I want to be able to use this for other things, not just mining iron. So, let me just give you a very quick tour. So my medical station here, which I did plumb up, don't need anything. So the way I did that was on the outside here. I just brought some conveyors up, piped it in there. And I also finished off this little landing pad here for our big ship. So you can see that's all welded up and done, and we have our connection at the back there. So that's as neat and tidy as I can make it. Right, let me get some steel and get rid of some of this. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put all of that away, get a little bit of that, and I can't remember. Get a control button. I think that should be everything we need. Oh, okay, didn't get a control button. There we go. Yeah, what I'd like to do is to try to demonstrate the portability of the R.A.T. And I've not tried this before, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I don't really need to do it at the silicon mine. So what I'll do is I'll go over to the ice. Yeah, you see what I mean about these shadows. They are awful. And as I say, I've tried everything I can to figure out what's going on with that, and I'm out of ideas. So please leave in the comments if you have some suggestions. Let's find an area where there's a good amount of snow. And not side slip would be good. Yeah, kind of looks like a reasonable snowbank, maybe. Alright, let's just pop us down here. Close enough. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the same kind of thing as we did before. Just make a little landing pad. And just I'll do the same design as we had before. Then put our little control pad down so that it sees it's the base. Okay. So all we have to do now is just position ourselves. Now remember, the move controller is in a different location to me. So we have to remember that. So we want the ship to effectively land on our pad here, like so, but the move controller is roughly where the antenna is, sort of in the middle of the ship there. So before I make a GPS location, I want to bring myself back to around about there. So I think, generally speaking, if I put the connector on that little block at the back there, that should line the move controller up with the GPS that I'm about to create. So We have an altitude of 4 meters at this position, so I want to level this off, and then I need an 11-meter drop, so that means I need to effectively go up to 15 meters high. There we are, just somewhere around about there, and create a GPS. So we're going to call this drone ice. I suppose it doesn't really matter, we call it mine, and I'll abbreviate position, and that's 2. Okay, now we want to come in a straight line back from there, and because it has a cruise height of, I think we set it to 50 meters, so in order for it to get to this position, it needs to be at least 50 meters high. So we'll do, let's do 55, that's a nice round number. And then we'll call this drone mine position 1 for ice. Okay, so all that's left to do then is to change the tracking, lack of a better word. So transit to mine, obviously, that's got our drone home position 1, which needs to be left the same, and then mine position 1 is going to be changed. So for that one, we need to make a note of the action, which is simply to invoke move to land position timer. So in the waypoints then, GPS locations, we want position 1, in this case for ice. So we can add that, and then the actions when we get there are the timer, move to land position, and I think we can do trigger now on that, because it's going to happen as soon as it gets there. And we can always just check, go back to that one, set up action. Oh, we started it on that one. Just for the sake of making sure everything's the same, we'll start it on that one. So then we can remove the mine position 1, which is the iron one. So delete selected. So that's everything we need to do on the transit to mine one. The transit to dock one, drone mine position 1, there are no actions there, so all we need to do is ice mine position 1. Okay, we move that up into that position and we delete that one. And then the position for land me, obviously that's important because drone mine position 2, so we need to add ice mine position 2. And the one action on that one we can see is to basically start land me. So set up action, start land me. And then don't forget to remove the iron mine. Alright, so that should be everything we need to change this drone from going to the iron mine to going to the ice mine. I didn't want to have to pre-record specific tasks for each mine position. Just throw down a quick landing pad, which I was hoping to avoid, but it won't detect the ground, so that's necessary. Gosh, these shadows are terrible, aren't they? Okay, so I'm flying all the way home deliberately so that we can test this properly, but stop drifting. Okay, so it would normally be in the parked and locked position. Okay, so on our second toolbar then we have wake up, return home, and cancel and return home. So obviously wake up is the one we want. And then it should, if I've done this right, and I've got damage on. So if this goes wrong, we're going to have to rebuild things, but I'm reasonably confident. So we tell it to wake up. It should fly to the home position. So this is a position where it will switch on collision detect. So as you can see, it flies around and over the top of, what's it doing? I don't know what you're doing. Okay, that's not good. What are you doing? Okay, maybe we'll just switch damage off for a minute, just while we figure out what exactly it's doing. Let's have a look. So transit to mine is what it should be doing. So it went to home position 1, that's correct. And when it got there... Oh, we're off again. Oh, I'm glad I switched damage off. It put cruise speed on, which has collision detect enabled. Should be trying to go to ice mine position 1. Okay. Not sure what's going on there, so let's just... where are we? Oh, we've got the move is switched off. We're on dock speed, which has no collision. Interesting. Alright, let's just extricate ourselves from here. Ooh. Okay. And this is why I love the autonomy update. Just come back to our known position. Okay, so let's just re-examine that. Oops, wrong button. Of course, now I'm confused because I'm connected. Okay, so transit to mine is the one that we kick off with. We actually called... what did we call? Timer, wake up. So wake up takes us off recharge, disconnects, flight move dock speed, transit to mine task, and switches. Ooh, okay. So that is actually on at the moment. Yeah, I think that's okay. And puts the warning lights on so that we know it's in auto mode. So that all looks correct. So dock speed is slow, but no collision. Transit to mine behavior is enabled. Transit to mine task. Autopilot one way, go to drone home position. When it gets there, it should change the move controller to full cruise speed, which it didn't do. Interesting. Okay, let's have another go. We've got damage off this time. Going to reconnect that. I wonder if having that other drone connected to the base like that is causing issues. Because the batteries were doing funny things then. Anyway, let's put them on charge. And of course we've got a storm now, which is great. So let's tell it to wake up again. I'm going to go back into here and move controller so dock speed is on. No, cruise speed is now on. But it's still having problems with the solar panels. Interesting. So we are transiting to the mine, and we do have collision avoidance on. It's moving to GPS drone home position. Why is it doing that? So it's maintaining its minimal altitude of 50, so it can't get to the GPS drone home position, but I'm not sure why it's trying to. Honestly, it should have already been there. Okay, let's just for the sake of argument, let's go back to okay, so moving to GPS home position, but we're clearly not. We're on cruise speed now. So now it is going to the mine. Okay, let's see if it actually manages to land on our pad when we get there. So I do still have damage off, just so that we don't waste enormous amounts of resources messing about with testing stuff. So we were able to get to that position, and it lands fairly gently. So that worked fine. I don't know what the problem is with it taking off. That's very odd. We've got various lights on and various lights off. Not sure why that is. Front lights are on, rear lights are on, warning light is now off. That looks better. Alright, well, while we're here, let's get some ice. Okay, so just time to fill up the drills. We got a little bit of stone there as well, but that's okay. Okay, I think that's enough weight. So theoretically then, all we should need to do is just to point it in a homewards direction. You don't need to, but just want to get it away from, you know, stuff. And then we should be, I'm going to do a cancel and return home, so that's number 3. And we should actually have the drone warning lights on. Oh, they are on already. Okay. Things on. Good. So it's interesting that on takeoff, it didn't trigger the go to the mine thing for some reason. Not 100% sure why that was. I also see a light over there in the fog. I wonder what that is. Right, so let's see how it negotiates the solar panels on the way back. So we are on cruise speed, which has collision on. And that shouldn't change until it gets to... yeah, drone home position. Yep, straight into the solar panel. Even though collision is clearly on. AI behavior is on. Collision avoidance is on. So maybe I need to slow it down a bit. It says maintaining altitude 50, moving to GPS drone ice mine position 1. But we know that's not true. So it's actually going to the home position. This position here. Or at least it's trying to. Getting very, very confused. Just going to give it a couple of minutes just to see if it'll sort itself out, but I think what we might end up doing is that home position, we need to make that higher than any structure on the base so that it doesn't have this problem. If I'd had damage on now, obviously that would have damaged probably both the ship and the solar panel. Okay, so we managed to get to the home position, kind of. Precision is not on, and we're within 10 meters of it, so I don't know why it's messing around so much here. There we go. I think there are a couple of changes I need to make. One of them being thrust. I think maybe, especially with a heavy load, the ship does not have enough thrust to avoid the collisions. in any direction, but specifically sideways. The other thing is we need to move that home position marker so that it's higher than the solar panels. And it hasn't switched off. It's on the connector, so why hasn't it switched off? So transit to dock, hands off. When it gets to home position 1, it triggers dock me. And dock me switches to dock speed, starts recorder A. So it switches the block on, and it switches play on, and it also switches on the sensor, which wasn't needed in this instance. So the recorder A takes us through 3 waypoints, and when it gets to waypoint 1, which is where it is now, it should trigger shutdown. So for some reason shutdown has not triggered. Let's just check that. Yeah, it does start it, and it has the 3-second delay. So if I trigger that now, it does lock down. So for some reason it either couldn't lock at that point, or maybe it wasn't ready. So let's increase that timer to 4 seconds. It's all a learning process. Now the other interesting thing about these waypoints, you see that drone home position up there. So if I just make sure, yeah, just make sure we're empty, and I'll try and demonstrate. Where is it? Home position. Kind of not in line with anything anyway. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new home position marker. I'll just come back a little bit, and then we'll go higher than any obstacles. That'll do, I think. Oh. Pressing the wrong buttons. Just make a copy of that one, and then we'll delete that one. New from current. Now, that in itself is not sufficient to change anything. The reason it's not sufficient to change anything is because the AI remembers the coordinates, not the GPS marker. So the fact that I've just made a new one means we now need to go through and change anything that refers to it. So we deleted it from that, so position for land me I think is fine. The transit to dock, obviously, drone home position 1 action, we need to change that. So the action is dock me trigger now. Okay, so we need to delete that one, and then we need to add the new home position, which is start at the back, because it's always the last one you check. which of course it is. So that's dock me trigger now. Okay, so that's transit to dock, and then transit to mine will also use the home position. And we actually change the move to AI on cruise speed on that one, so we can delete that one. Home position, add, and then select the actions for the right one. AI on cruise speed. So yeah, it's important to remember that, because just because it says the right waypoint name, see if you mouse over it, it actually gives the coordinates for it. And once you've set up these, you can actually go into here and delete all of the GPS points if you wanted to. The device itself remembers the coordinates, so that's quite an important thing. Okay, shall we try it once more, just to see if we're actually making headway here? So just before I dock it, the battery's actually getting quite low, so we need to recharge it anyway. But so when we tell it to wake up, we hit the button, tell it to wake up. So it does the normal, battery's on auto, unlock itself, switch on the move controller for the slow speed move, and the transit to mine behavior. So just a basic task. And this switching on the wait for offload timer, I think, is done on purpose, but we might need to revisit that, because if that's already been triggered, for instance, that might be causing problems. So what I'm actually going to do is take that off for now. We'll revisit how we utilize that, I think. So the first thing the transit to mine tries to do, this one, is it tries to go to the home position, so we need to move that up. So in other words, we're on the pad, we take off, we wanted to go up to the home position because that's what triggers the cruise mode. Once it gets there, triggers the cruise mode, and then it will try to go to the ice mine position 1, which is correct. And position for land me, nothing's changed, just goes to position 2 and then drops like a brick. And then on the way back, transit to dock, goes up to ice mine position 1 to get clear, goes to cruise mode, and should return home. So that all looks good. And let me just give this a bit of a recharge before we attempt another crash. So all the changes I've made on that are going to have to be applied on this. So we have to bear that one in mind. Now, I've added more side thrust, but I still think we probably don't have enough for the weight that it's carrying, and it doesn't carry much weight. So it's possible I'm going to have to put one of these larger thrusters on the side here, which will kind of ruin the look, but we'll have to do something because it's slipping quite badly. So let me just take those off. Careful with these elite grinders, haven't you? And take that one off. See how we go with that. So where were we? Somewhere. 5. those so the right colour. Yeah, it's kind of, it does fit in there on the battery, but it's ruined the aesthetics, hasn't it? Well, if we need it, we need it. Unfortunately, that means the batteries are going to run down much quicker. And 6. Got a small... Yeah, that won't fit on the end there, unfortunately. We're going to have to change that one. We went for off-white on that. Not a lot I can do about the edges on that. Could possibly use a curved one. Let's try a curved one. Where were they? Kind of doesn't work either, does it? Well, we're going to be putting some kind of a top on it, so I guess we could do it that way. Come up with some kind of an imaginative colour scheme for it at some point. Right, let's just go and get the bits for that. Okay, so could possibly extend that out. I realise the aesthetics are relatively unimportant in the scale of what we're doing, but still nice to make it look good. Come on, that one. And I think we changed that one as well, didn't we? And what did we do at the front there? I can't remember. Just trimmed it off. Okay. Okay, get those. Alright, so see how we're doing. 94%, that's pretty good. So I'm actually going to disconnect from the base so that we don't get thruster groupings confused. So that's all thrusters. Goes to the group. Like those now. Yeah, so we dropped from 94 to 86. Sure why it says mixed. Let's just check those. No. To do it while we're not locked. Batteries on auto. Something weird going on with these groupings. Lock, charge. Alright. I do think the fact that we've got an identical ship there may be causing a few problems, because although it's a subgrid off the main grid, I've encountered issues with groups, and especially using the autonomy system. Like, if that ship has the same group names, when you do something with a group on this ship, it sometimes seems to interfere with groups on the other ship as well. Right, we still have damage off at the moment, so we've changed everything we need to change. We've regrouped the thrusters that we've messed around with, so we should have more sideways thrust now, which means less slip. I've left those other two little thrusters on the sides, but honestly they're probably not going to make much difference in the scale of things, so we'll probably be taking those off ultimately. Let's see if she'll go mine again. So we're going to hit button 1, which is go to mine. Wish me luck. Perfect. So that's as gentle as you can get a drop from the sky. And then it should hand everything off to me, so all I have to do is switch the thrusters on. Mine some more of this. So I'm deliberately going to mine the same amount as we took last time, so I'll fill the drills as well. I know we're getting a lot of stone here, but this is more proof of concept, so make sure the drills are nice and full, make sure we're nice and heavy. There we go. And I'll do exactly the same thing as I did before. Just get clear, pointing roughly the way home. And then I'll do number 3 again, so return home and cancel. I guess the other thing we could do with less sideways thrust, it's having a problem here getting onto that waypoint, isn't it? We could change the roll amount. So if we have a look at the move controller for cruise, I believe we're running on. That's the one we're predominantly on because collision is on. I've got pitch angle 15 degrees. We could change that to 5 degrees or even less. We need some pitch, I think, to be able to go up and down, but it doesn't have to be 15 degrees. Another storm coming in. And what that would do is it would stop it from getting into an attitude where the thrusters were not enough to stop it slipping. Let's see how we go now. We've got bigger thrusters on anyway. So this time we're well clear of the solar panels. So no problem at all there getting to the home position. Much less side slip. And let's have a sideways view so we can see whether that connector actually gets in the right position to lock, which it should do. No real reason why it wouldn't. Yep, it's definitely there. So 4-second delay then. Still not locking. Which is odd. So transit to dock. We've got a recorder, in this case task A. When it gets to waypoint 1, start the shutdown timer. First thing the shutdown timer does is lock the connector, which it's not doing. You gotta love space engineers, haven't you? I don't know why it wouldn't lock there. No reason at all. It was in the perfect position. It was ready to lock. The timer was counting down, but it didn't lock. Anyhow, I think the best thing I can do is I'm going to grind this down. We'll re-blueprint it. I'm going to put another sensor underneath it and try and configure it so that that sensor is enabled when we get to the mine, wherever the mine is, and wait for the storm to blow over. So I'm going to grind this one down, save all the components. I don't have a cargo bay access out here, which for what we're doing would be really handy. So I think I might also try and put one of those in somewhere. Not 100% sure where, maybe in the middle here would work. Yeah, we can put a block in there. But while this storm abates, I will bring you back in a bit. I'm going to get all that done and then I'll bring you back shortly. Oh, welcome back everybody. So I just I needed more energy, so I jumped in this ship, and I just noticed if you look at the bar at the bottom, it says 1 damage thruster, 24 are switched on, 1 is switched off. And I haven't touched this ship since you last saw me, so that's a bit weird, because clearly that ship that I'm grinding down is affecting the groupings that are shown on the taskbar. So let me go and see. Yeah, this one. So this one's damaged. So if I take that one off, and then we go back and have another look. So we no longer have a damaged thruster. So that's something to be aware of. Although I know that happens if you, in admin mode, you do a copy and paste of a ship. But I didn't realize that it happened if you took a blueprint and then build an identical ship. So that's quite interesting. And something I'm going to have to be very careful of. And yes, I have remembered, I've still got damage switched off at the moment, so I'm not cheating. I just don't want to just waste a load of resources on prototyping stuff.
Inventory full.
So I put this cargo box in here. I've kind of run a separate line. So this is the sorter line that draws off the drones, and then there's another line that runs, actually connects in under the vent that's in the airlock there. Right, we're nearly there. Just a few more bits to go. Nope, not that one. Okay. There it was, gone. So I think I need to perfect this one. I think we can take these off. Saying if I do that one, we're going to lose this. So I'm guessing this doesn't actually connect to that thruster there. Okay, so apart from the whole timer to come back and return to the mine thing, the only other thing I want to do is to add another sensor. Yeah, I think the lights one off is fine because I think that includes the drone warning lights. Let me just check that. Oh, let's disconnect first. No. So used to putting a minus sign in front. So we've got front lights, we've got rear lights. And we got warning lights, which should be off. Yeah, okay, interesting. So one of them was off. Sure how that works. Yeah, so this wait for offload. It's simply a timer that's put in front of the wake up command. So it's currently switched off. It's set to trigger and has triggered. So we're just going to stop that. If I restart it and then stop it, yeah, so it resets to the full time. So on the wake up then, we don't need to do anything. So the return home. Yeah, nothing happening on there. Cancel and return home. So we're actually switching the block off. I think we can remove that one as well. Time of block return home start. Let's just move that. We got an unnecessary step in there. Okay, let's connect, hit recharge, and just so you guys don't shout at me, I'm going to put damage back on. This is probably a mistake, but we'll find out soon enough. Oh, the other thing we wanted to do is to put a sensor underneath it and try and configure that in some way. So let's do that now. What are we doing? Batteries on there. Come on. Just get a bit of height so I can get underneath it. And go and get a sensor. Oh, here now, can't we? Now, we know this is going to come to a stop and then begin its fall at 11 meters off the deck. So its altitude can be anything up to, well, several meters, can't it? So I think if we do, well, we definitely don't need back extent, so if we do left, say 1.25, same on right, same on bottom, same on top, back we're not using, and then the front we can put at, say, 20 meters, something like that. Hopefully that'll be enough. Just make sure our batteries are charged because we're going to be using them in a second. So what do we want to do when it senses trouble? So we're doing we do transit to mine, that's the first point. Now this is the position where it's going to detect a problem. So it's a basic task. Its behavior will be on. It's trying to get to mine position 2. Now hopefully if there's something below us before it gets to mine position 2. So I think what we could probably get away with, maybe, where are we? Yeah, position for land me. Is that right? Position for land me. Where's mine position 2? Yeah. So position for land me, we're going to switch off AI behavior if there's something detected, a small ship detected by it. And if there's a small ship there that then moves, it should go out of the sensor range, so we can switch AI behavior back on again. The theory is then, if there's a ship already parked in the mine position, instead of continuing to move towards the point where it drops, it will just stop. And as that's the only waypoint it has to try to get to that waypoint, well, we'll have to see. We do need to check the cancel for offload system. So just let me quickly do that. Okay, so I think I have a way of doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, for the wake up block, when it's docked here and we tell it to wake up, we're going to make sure that it's stopped, so that we've cancelled any previous operations, and then we're going to switch the block off so it's in a known state when we go to the mine. Now when we're at the mine, one of two things are going to happen. We're either going to tell it to return home, or we're going to tell it to cancel and return home. So return home will bring it back to us, cancel and return home will leave it at home. So the natural one will be to return home and thus initiate the wait for offload timer. But if I just switch it on here, we've got no alternative. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to toggle that block on and off. Now, we know its known state when it leaves the dock is going to be off. So by toggling it, it will now be on. And available for use, if that makes any sense. So if we want to cancel it and return it back to the dock, then we initiate the return home timer. We set the we want to make sure it's not running at this point because we're still at the mine, but it's in its off position when it gets to the mine, and we don't want it to come back. But we know the return home command, which we're calling there, we know that's going to change it. I told you it was complicated. So we want to call the return home start after we've done whatever we're doing here, not before it. So let's change that now. Get the right one. Return home. I'm going to put that there instead. So the AI timer block wait for offload here, instead of toggling it on, we know it's already off, and the return home is going to flip whichever position it's in. So if we don't want it to come back, all we have to do is switch it on here, and then when the return home is triggered, it will toggle its position. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But because we're switching it on, I want to make sure it's not running, so we're going to call the stop command as well. So I don't think it matters what position these are in, but just for the sake of keeping it neat and tidy, wait for offload, toggle block on, that one. Going to put it there, and then wait for offload, stop, put there, and the return home start, put there. Okay, so now that we're 100% charged, I'm just going to take it off charge. Going to take it off the deck so that we don't do everything, and I'm just going to grab a blueprint of it here. There we go. Okay, so that was quite a lot of faffing around. Let me just hook this back up again. Now, the next problem we have is if I build a second one, are those groups going to interfere? The only way we're going to find that out is by building one. So I'm going to set up a blueprint here, and then we'll have a go with my new contraption over there, see if we can actually get it welded. I think before I do, let's just check our stocks. And something else we should do is we should give this place a name. So let's just call it Mars. Not really an outpost, but we'll call it Mars Outpost. Gotta call it something. There we go, that looks better. So, hopefully everything should be here. So we've got some steel. Apparently I've got a load of components on me. We've got that looks good. Maybe need some more motors. Sensors, the only thing we don't have is stuff for batteries. So let's get some of those built. Maybe 120 of those. And some more motors. I wonder if in building it, I will put on the show only buildable. It's a lot easier. I wonder if the fact that this is connected when that's created might be an issue. So what I'll do is I'll actually, we'll take it off charge, I'll unlock it and I'll switch it off. That way there can be no sort of cross pollution between the two. Alright, so the reason I put the cockpit here was so that, oh, I don't want to get out, so that I could see what I was welding, but as you can see, not with this cockpit, you can't see the weld head. So best thing to do is in spectator mode, I think. Okay, so bring that up. And then the two controls that I've got, one of them gives me left and right. So, and, ooh, won't let me go down any lower than that because we're already at 90. Complicated, isn't it? Right, so if I control the head, the other controller, then we can lift that up and rotate it around as required. So then the only other thing I need is 5, I think. Yeah, extend that out. There we go. That's better. Just make sure it gets everything as we're going. At least everything that it can get. Yeah, the only problem we'll have here is if I run out of something, I won't know that I've run out of it. If it's in the middle of the ship, we won't be able to see it. Not sure what that's trying to weld up. Looks as if it's trying to weld something there and failing. So what I'll do is I'll just back it off a little bit more, and we'll go down as much as we can go down. Still finding things to build. Right, I think that's probably as good as we're going to get with that thing. Looks pretty complete. And from that point of view, it kind of worked. So, can't see anything that's not built. Touch wood. And nothing showing up in red on it. So, guess there's only one way to find out then, really. So thrusters are on. Everything should be good to go. Let's oh, okay. Why'd it do that? Dampness. That's weird. Don't know why the dampeners would have been off. The blueprint was saved with them on, so don't know. Okay. So let's get that recharged. I think everything else should be correct. Right, just let me sit here for a minute and get some charge into this, and then we'll give this one a try. The other one is, of course, is switched off at the moment, so we shouldn't have any interruptions. One thing I can do, though, for some reason it never comes on the blueprint, is we'll just change that to... got it. I should really do this, because when I originally wrote it, I just had the name in mind and I just got it a little R.A.T, but actually it's remote automated transport. Call it what you like. But I'll put a 2 on that one just so that we can differentiate the two. Right. Just going to sit here for a minute, let that recharge, and then we'll give that one a try. Okay, so we're at 60%. I think that's enough to do a test. So obviously when this comes back, it's going to try and land on docking pad A. And again, rather than just being stupid and wasteful as single player, you have the ability to change. I'm going to switch damage off. Not that I don't trust that it'll work. I think it will work. Just, you never know. So the AI should be set up for... Let's have a look. Transit to mine. Yeah, the ice mine position. So we're going to say, okay, go to mine. That's going to take us up to the home position. Yeah, a little bit violent, but that was okay. We can accept that, I think. I don't think that would damage anything. Okay, so off we go mining. We dig a big hole, and then we're ready to return back to the base. So we just point it generally over here. And then we want to return home and cancel. So one thing I didn't set up, which I actually should check because that might interfere with things. The mine busy sensor, which is currently on, that's going to affect things when we get back to base. We need to be switching this sensor on and off at the right time. So the right time there is kind of when it's transiting to the mine, I guess. We can switch it on. But I'll worry about that between episodes. I don't think that's going to be too difficult to set up. I really do need to go and investigate what that bright light is over there on the hill. It's like something's crashed. So let's see what happens when this tries to dock on docking pad A, where there is already a ship. So coming in for landing. Says, oh, there's already a ship there. What do I do? And apparently it does nothing. But it's not trying to land on it, so that's a start. So AI recorder task B should be on, and we should still be on dock speed. So dock speed is on. It's switched off that one, but it hasn't switched on dock B. So I think that's obstruct detect. So as soon as it detects something, it toggles A or B, which is that one. So AI recorder task A switches off. Actually toggles the block off. Okay. Toggle block on or off. AI recorder B, it switches. No, so that one should have been off. I think if that was on anyway, then that would have toggled. And then play on off. Not sure whether you need to switch behavior on or off instead of toggling the block on and off. I've had a lot of problems with that before. But I think probably when we built the ship, that block would have been switched on, maybe? So AI recorder B should be on, and then we should click play. And that actually takes us to the previous waypoint position, so that's another thing that needs changing. And it stopped here because obviously I've got a subgrid down there, so it's detected that small subgrid and stopped. Okay, so there's a little bit of refinement work to be done. But I think we've made good progress. It's what I'm trying to do is quite complicated. Obviously, we're trying to have vehicles that can make decisions effectively, or almost make decisions about, oh, there's already a ship there, I can't dock, so I'll do something else, or I'll wait, whatever. Kind of rocket science, but it's the kind of thing I enjoy fathoming out. I would prefer fathoming it all out if we didn't have these idiosyncrasies. Just switch these lights off. Going to be annoying. Front lights, rear lights, that's fine. Warning lights. Those off. By idiosyncrasies, I mean the complication between the blocks. So if we have two identical ships with group names the same, there seems to be some kind of interaction between them, which there shouldn't be. But overall, I'm very happy with that. I should just remember to switch damage back on again so that you don't think I'm cheating. But it kind of did its job. I'm going to revisit this crane thing. I think I'm going to rebuild it from the ground up, i.e. that hinge there in small grid. So I'll use that hinge to convert to small grid, and then I'll build everything else in small grid, because it will allow me to have much lower height, which means if I can position the weld head kind of at the front. Let me just come over here. So if I'm in this position with the weld head working backwards from the projector, I think that would have made life a lot easier. I did it in large grid because, well, it's easier to think through the process, but I don't really need to be able to rotate the head. I mean, it was useful, but that's not as important, I think, as having a lower height or a more adjustable height position on it. Anyway, I've rattled on for long enough. It's been challenging and fun, but thank you very much for joining me. If you've stuck with me till the end, I really do appreciate it. I'd also like to ask a favour. If you're enjoying what I'm doing, please click the like button. I noticed a few of my videos people have been clicking the dislike button. That's fine. If you didn't like it, please click the dislike button. But that obviously offsets the percentage that YouTube sees, and people are quick to click on the dislike button if something's rubbish, but very often slow to click on a like button. So I would ask you, please, if you're enjoying my work and enjoying watching my videos, please click that like button. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves now. Bye bye.